This is one of the Indian medicine. This is not Actista indica, this is not Ficus religiosa, or this is not Abroma augusta. This is a drug belongs to the family euphorbiaceae. This is not crotanteg, this is not Ricinus communis, this is not Jatropha. This is an excellent remedy for the initial phases of tuberculosis, where tuberculosis without fever. This is not Phosphorus, this is not Arsiodatum, this is not Pulsatilla, this is not Calica, or this is not Tuboinum. Hemoptysis with bright red expectoration in the daytime and dark red expectoration in the night. This is also a very important remedy for the person who has got forceful expulsion of noisy flatus with diarrhea. There is a sudden jetting out of stool. This is not crotanteg, this is not Tuja, or this is not Jatropha. The person is gradually emaciating. This is not Natromure, this is not Ethusa, this is not Abrotanum. This is a drug called as Acalypha indica. Acalypha means nettle. This plant leaf resembles that of Artica urens plant. That is the reason it receives the name Acalypha. Acalypha indica. From the name we can guess that this is one of the Indian medicinal plant, which is commonly called as Indian Acalypha, Indian mercury, Indian copper leaf, Indian nettle. So everywhere the word Indian, which is seen throughout the common names, because there is another variety of species of Acalypha which is found in North America, which is called as Acalypha virginica. There are around 450 to 462 species of Acalypha has been identified. Acalypha indica is a drug belongs to the family euphorbiaceae. There are several other drugs from the family euphorbiaceae. Commonly known drugs are crotanteg, Ricinus communis, Jatropha, Euphorbium officinalis, Stillingia. There are many other drugs. Parts used to prepare the medicine, the tincture of the fresh plant. Regarding the provers, there is a controversy. According to Dr. N.M. Chowdhury, that this remedy is first proved by Dr. Muzumdar of Calcutta. But Dr. S.C. Ghosh in his Drugs of Hindustan says that Dr. C.F. Tonnerre, a French homeopath, made the first proving of Acalypha indica. So this is the short introduction about Acalypha indica. The genus name Acalypha is derived from the ancient Greek word Acalyphae, which means nettle. This is mainly because the Acalypha indica leaves looks like or resembles to that of nettle leaves. The real nettle is Artica urens. In this slide, I have kept both the images of Acalypha indica and Artica urens, where the leaves resembles to that of Artica urens. That is the reason Linnaeus named this plant as Acalypha. The stems will turn coppery red in color when the leaves fall. That is the reason the common name is Indian copper leaf. The reference to mercury in the common name of this plant is to the god, not to the metal. The small bracts surrounding the tiny flowers fancifully resembles to the winged feet found on some statues of Mercury. You can see that modified leaves which surrounds the tiny flowers like a gourd. That is the reason it has got the name mercury, Indian mercury. Acalypha indica is an erect annual herbaceous plant which can grow up to 1.2 to 1.5 meter tall. It has cup-shaped modified special leaves. It looks as if it is guarding the flowers. That is the main reason it has got the name mercury as a common name. It has got a small, tiny, white flowers. Its root is highly attracted towards the cat. Acalypha indica plant we need not cultivate. It grows by itself. It grows on almost all the wastelands. It grows on dirty places. It grows on roadsides, wastelands. It also grows around your coconut plantations. It also grows at the rocky hillsides, forest edges, river banks. It prefers generally moist area and also it grows better in shaded places. Acalypha indica is a drug belongs to the family euphorbiaceae. This plant, as the name suggests, is an Indian plant, but it is not only found in India, but it's also found in Africa. It's also found in Indian Ocean islands. It's also seen in Southeast Asia. Throughout the areas where the Acalypha indica plant grows, it is widely known for its effect on the domestic cats. The domestic cat reacts strongly and favorably to the root of the plant. You can see in this video how the cat smells the root of Acalypha indica plant and rotates with a kind of hysterical behaviors you can see among the cats towards this plant. Acalypha indica is been used in all the Ayush systems of medicine. In Ayurveda, it has been named Rudra or Mukta Varchas. In Siddha, it has been called as Kuppamani. In Unani, it is called as Kuppi. In homeopathy, we call it as Acalypha indica. Generally, it has the trade name as Muktajuri or Kokli. Let us see which all names this Acalypha indica has been called in various parts of India. In Bengali, it has been called as Muktajuri. In Gujarati, it has been called as Vanchikanto. In Hindi, it has been called as Kuppi, Kokli. In Kannada, it has been called as Kuppigida. In Malayalam, it has been called as Kuppamani. In Tamil, it has been called as Kuppameni. Poonamayakki, because Poona means cat. Mayakki means the cat smells it and it is almost like unconscious, or it is almost a kind of hysterical behaviors. In Telugu, it has been called as Kuppichettu. In Sanskrit, it has been called as Harita Manjari. So like that, it has got various names in various parts of India. Let us see quickly some of the research activities conducted upon Acalypha indica. The root is been prescribed as a tonic, as a astringent, as a febrifuge, and strong purgative. A study is done by Care in 2007. The leaves extract reduced mutagenicity of E. coli by Gupta et al. In 2008. The leaves are laxative and used externally as emollient. It has been used for chilblains. It has been used in insect bites, swelling, rheumatism, facial palsy by Kritiker et al. In 2006. The leaves are used in jaundice, piles, rheumatism, ulcers, and various skin eruptions, ringworms, eczema. The leaves extracts are applied to the pustules, insect bites by Nadkarni in 2009. These are the studies, various research studies contributing in towards the uses of Acalypha indica. The extract of the root lowers the blood sugar level up to 30% by Chopra et al. In the year 2006. The fruits are used as cathartic and in the snake bite. The ethanolic 50% extract of pods shows anti-fertility activities in female albino rats. The leaf is reported to be used for asthma by Vaishnav et al. In the year 1993. Leaves is used as an analgesic, as an antipyretic, as a remedy for malaria and fever by many of the studies. So these are the various research studies which contribute the efficacy of Acalypha indica in various clinical conditions. Let us see how Acalypha indica has been used globally. Acalypha indica is listed in the pharmacopoeias of India as an expectorant to treat asthma and pneumonia. In Madagascar, the crushed plant has been used for skin parasites. In Mauritius, the sap of crushed leaf mixed with salt or a decoction of this plant has been used for scabies. The root decoction is also taken for intestinal worms and stomach aches. This plant is held in high esteem in traditional Tamil Siddha medicine as it is believed to be a rejuvenate the body. This improves the vitality of our body. That's as per the Siddha's concept. We will come back to the homeopathic part of Acalypha indica. Acalypha indica has got mainly action on the respiratory tract and gastrointestinal tract. It is one of the very important remedy for incipient phthisis. It is indicated for incipient phthisis. That means it is indicated in the early stages of tuberculosis. We have several other drugs for tuberculosis. The remedies like R-iodatum, the remedies like acetic acid, the remedies like phosphorus, the remedies like tuboenum, the remedies like pulsatilla. But Acalypha indicate mainly for the early stages of tuberculosis, where the person will have a hard racking cough with bloody expectoration. It is more of arterial bleeding. It's more of bright red bleeding. Whatever may be the symptomatology, the very important part of Acalypha is tuberculosis with no fever. There is no febrile disturbances. So very often students used to write in the exams, I have seen, whenever Acalypha indica has been asked, a remedy for indication of Acalypha for tuberculosis, they will write all the common symptoms of tuberculosis. They will write cold, cough, night sweats, evening rise of temperature. But teachers like us, we can very easily catch whether the student is bluffing or not. Acalypha, almost all the common symptoms of tuberculosis, but no febrile disturbances. Tuberculosis, in the initial part of tuberculosis, but no febrile disturbances. Rest all the common symptoms of tuberculosis you can see in Acalypha indica. So remember, indicated for incipient phthisis, but no febrile disturbances. The second keynote indication of Acalypha indica is person is very weak in the morning. Almost most of the complaints will aggravate in the morning time. Person is very weak in the morning. Person gains the strength during the day. Almost all the pathological symptoms you can see which has got aggravation in the early morning. Even the hemorrhages are aggravated in the morning. Just like our bryonia. But Acalypha also has got aggravation in the night, but most of the complaints, the person feels very weak in the morning, and towards the noon he feels better. Early morning is the aggravation of Acalypha indica. The third indication of Acalypha indica is violent, dry, hard cough followed by hemoptysis. The cough is very violent, which is most of the time dry and hard cough, which ends up with hemoptysis. The cough is worse in the morning and night. Violent, dry, hard cough followed by hemoptysis, which is worse in the morning and night. We need to compare again remedies where the person will have violent, dry, hard cough like Drosera. We have to compare Spongia. We have to compare Bryonia. Bryonia is again will have a hemoptysis. Bryonia is again aggravation in the morning. The Drosera is again a cough aggravation at the night when the person lying down, when the head touches the pillow. Spongia is again a remedy for the violent dry cough, a spasmodic cough. We need to differentiate all those drugs, Spongia, we need to differentiate Bryonia, we need to differentiate R-Sidatum, we also need to differentiate Moschus, which is more of hysterical violent cough. The fourth indication of Acalypha indica, according to Hale, it is indicated when there is an expectoration of pure blood, not so profuse in the morning, and followed by a dark lumps of clotted blood in the evening. The same patient will have a bright red scanty hemoptysis in the morning, followed by a dark clotted blood in the evening. This is very peculiar, uncommon symptoms of Acalypha indica. The person will have bright red cough with bright red expectoration in the morning, cough with dark clotted expectoration in the evening. The fifth keynote indication of Acalypha indica is regarding the GIT, which is very similar to our another drug belongs to the same family, Crotantake. The person will have a spluttering diarrhea with forceful expulsion of noisy flatus. There is a spluttering diarrhea with a very forceful expulsion of stool with a noisy flatus. We need to differentiate Crotantake, where the person will have a gunshot diarrhea. We have Jatropa, this is again a forceful expulsion of stools. All those drugs belongs to the same family, has got similar features. Spluttering diarrhea with forceful expulsion of noisy flatus. We need to compare Asafoetida, we need to compare Carbovig also. Carbovig is again a hemorrhagic remedy, which is again aggravation in the evening, or more of dark red bleeding. The sixth indication of Acalypha indica is generally a remedy of hemorrhagic diathesis. Hemorrhage from the lungs, or hemorrhage from the GIT, or hemorrhage from the urinary organs. You need to differentiate hemorrhagic remedies like aconite, phosphorus, millefolium. In millefolium, the hemorrhage is generally a painless hemorrhage. Millefolium, the person will never have a anxiety. There is no fever. Just like Acalypha, no fever. Hemorrhage without fever. In millefolium, the person will have a cough because of suppressed menses. Aconite is again a bright red bleeding with anxiety, with restlessness. Phosphorus is again a bright red bleeding, is more of profuse, with many of the constitutional features of phosphorus you can see. Acalypha, it is indicated for hemorrhagic tendency, a rectal hemorrhage, which is aggravation in the morning. Another keynote indication of Acalypha indica is the person will have progressive emaciation. Marked progressive emaciation, person will have marked weakness, which is gradually progressive. This is in short about the keynote indication of Acalypha indica. Let us see some more detailed indication of Acalypha indica in respiratory system. As I have said in the earlier, Acalypha indica is an excellent remedy in initial phases of tuberculosis. So we have almost all the common symptoms of tuberculosis, where the person will have a cough, person will have hemoptysis, person will have weakness, person will have night sweats. But we must remember there is no fever. Totally afebrile variety of tuberculosis, that is the indication of Acalypha indica. The cough is violent, which is very dry, hard, followed by hemoptysis. Initially, person will keep on coughing, which is very dry and hard. Finally, ends up in hemoptysis, which is worse in the morning as well as night. But most of the time, the aggravation time is in the early morning. There is a constant and severe chest pain while coughing, like our bryonia, like our aconite, like our ranunculus. There is a dullness in the chest while percussing. When you percuss over the chest, you feel dullness. The blood is bright red and not profuse in the morning, followed by a dark and clotted blood in the afternoon and evening, which is very characteristic and which is very unique symptoms of Acalypha indica. Associated with this respiratory manifestation, a person will have a burning, just like iodatum, just like arsenic alb, just like phosphorus. The person will have burning in the pharynx, person will have burning in the esophagus, person will have burning in the stomach. The pulse, when you palpate, the pulse is very soft and compressible because person is so much emaciated, the person is feeling so weak, the pulse also so soft and you can compress the pulse. The cough, most violent at night. Expectoration is pure blood in the morning and expectoration of dark clotted blood in the evening. This is in short a summary of Acalypha indica in respiratory complaints. Regarding the GIT complaints of Acalypha indica, which is very similar to our crotantic, which is very similar to Jatropha, and some extent which is very similar to Thuja. There is a burning in the intestine, there is a burning in the esophagus, there is a burning in the stomach, there is a full of rumbling and distension of the abdomen, like our carbovage, like our asafoetida. There is a severe gripping type of pain in the abdomen, like our colocynth, like our plumbum metallicum. The person will have a rectal hemorrhage, which is worse in the morning. There is a spluttering type of diarrhea with forceful expulsion of noisy flatus associated with bearing down sensation, as if something is coming out from the rectum, with severe tenesmus. That is a characteristic. There is a splutting diarrhea with forceful expulsion of noisy flatus, with severe bearing down sensation, bearing down pain, and tenesmus of the rectum. Generally the person will have loss of appetite. There is a full of flatus formation with noisy expulsion of flatus. In crotentic we have gunshot diarrhea. In Jatropha is again profuse bunghole diarrhea. Tuja is again as though the water is gushed out from the rectum. In Tuja we have other associated psychotic miasmatic presentation. Crotentic we have that crampy pain as though pain is been from the abdomen is been pushed to the spine, like our plumber metallicum symptomatology you can see in crotentic. But in Acalypha, it is more of intestinal tuberculosis. It is indicated where the person is having a tuberculosis of the intestine. This is how you can differentiate diarrhea of Acalypha, diarrhea of crotentic, diarrhea of Tuja, and diarrhea of Jatropha.